Hello, trading is closed on May 16th, 2024. We'll do our disclaimer, go over our calls, and make some predictions. It's my trading plan for tomorrow, which is Friday, May 17th, 2024. Please remember my calls can be wrong. Any trade you make should be made at your own risk. Also remember, David is having some free simulcasts next week. You don't want to miss it. If you are going to go, you might want to visit one of his other seminars one day early. Every person who has his own indicators has his own language, as it were, and he's going to go over some of the terms he uses. It would help you get more out of the YouTube session later in the week. It's all free. Look for the pattern with the early low. This is it. Tomorrow should also have the early low. We said it would be quite surprising if we didn't get follow through, but if we gapped down, it was very negative. We got follow through. We also said we were in a time frame when the reversal was possible, and that's the reversal. Here's what we said. Much higher targets. It's one of the areas a short-term reversal is credible. We're within Caroline's range. Early on, MEJT gave a buy signal. We traded higher. We got a sell signal. That worked. The minimum target printed immediately. You don't have to stop there, but there is an optional higher target. The optional higher target's 53.1840 and prints about 95% of the time. The catch is almost always MEJT is going to leave a failed target at major changes in trend. And if there's no failed target, it probably isn't a major change in trend. So this one doesn't have to print because it's optional, and I think the odds are it's not going to be seen. Doesn't make me right. We said if we maintained the gap completely over this bar here, that would lead to much higher prices. We'd be breaking through resistance, but I said it would be hard to explain a breakthrough with a bar that would be completely over the upper Bollinger Band. It was just not compatible. So even though we started up, we didn't maintain the gap over that high, which didn't surprise me. We have bar 13 on DeMarc's sequential sell on the weekly chart. These don't all work, but when they work, the longer the bar, and the week is pretty long, the more significant the call. So if this works, it doesn't have to, but if it works, it calls for a sizable drop, or at least a sizable period of consolidation to work off the overextended condition. Technically, this won't trigger until Friday, but it can end early. You really have to go under this. You'd have to have a huge drop if it didn't work, and if we had a huge drop, to me, that's just an early finish. We did validate the break over the 2x1 Gann fan line, 1x2, so that's good for the bulls. But this isn't the count I'm using now. I'm using the alternate count with one over here. But if you look at the 1x1 Gann fan line we showed yesterday, that's resistance held because we couldn't gap over it and maintain the gap. I had this chart yesterday with wave red 4 ending here, and the fibs didn't quite work. but no rule says wave 4 can't end here, and then the fibs work perfectly. So you've got 5 waves up, all these fibs work. Just because these fibs work doesn't mean others won't. But this is the time frame in which we're looking for a top, and you want to count compatible with that, and now we have it. And we're not fudging and saying it's close. This works. Friday's pattern has the early low regardless of where we open. We hit a new all-time high but closed red. It's not the type of action bulls want to see, and today's normally bullish pattern was bearish instead. It should lead to lower prices unless it's invalidated early. Now tomorrow's open can substitute for today's close. So if we gap, promptly overtake the high of day, that vitiates today's negative action. And we hit a wall down into the close, and that makes gapping up possible. Until you reverse, we're still in an uptrend. But if we don't do that, we should trade lower Friday. Now the wave count's compatible with the end of this leg. So is Caroline's date. So is DeMarc's count. Today's high is a fraction of a point off a score of 9 hit from the 2009-666.79 major low. The equity-only put-call ratio was close to giving a sell yesterday, and I don't have today's figures yet, so maybe it gave it. That's too much optimism. Today is a strong candidate for being the end of this leg up. All we need is confirmation by having the market start to drop. Now, until it starts to drop, we're in an uptrend. But this has really everything I need for a top here. And if I'm wrong, I should find out soon enough. We open it, we gap and take this out. Something else is going on. But if this is the top, I have all these lower targets, which don't have to print now, but I think the odds are good that they will if that call's right. Just remember, calling tops can be dangerous, especially when I think much higher prices are coming. And if it doesn't work, I wouldn't force it. You have to have a stop. But to me, this is a new high. We undercut all these highs, all these lows. Tomorrow's open can change everything, but we open down here tomorrow, I think that's the end of this leg. And that's today's call.